Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring your boy Kuzan. Coming at you guys with another spicy deck profile featuring OP12 here on the channel, let alone a leader in which seems to be my favorite one to play currently. And I know that's crazy because I'm very partial to playing decks like Yamato, and which is more aggro based, right? I'm not really one to sit here and play control-ish decks, if you will, because I feel like most control variants that have currently been in One Piece typically are top tier, or the meta, if you will. And if you go back and look at some of the things that we've had thus far, that's things like Teach, Rob Lucci, and Sakazuki. They have been the removal decks. There have been others, give or take, but none of them have had this much prowl in the game. Now, when we get to Kuzan, he's the first mono blue deck in which I feel they've done right in that regard, due to the fact that Kuzan draws a bunch of cards. Kuzan draws a bunch of removal, he draws a bunch of bodies to develop on board, he has a really big hand size. And this is the first time I think they've done blue actually correct, at least a mono blue variation. You could argue Bo is pretty good. She was at her time, but she also is limited to 5 cards to use her leader ability. Whereas Kuzan is not, and you can also use his ability multiple times per turn, which is really, really cool. It's one of the more unique abilities that we've had for a leader, which has no cap due to how many times you can trigger his ability in a turn, which is really nice. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this deck list today. We're going to play a bunch of games, and I'm going to take you on a journey when it comes to Kuzan, how to play this leader, at least how I have understood how to play this leader, going forward. Now, we're probably going to play a bunch of games today, as we typically do. They might be a little bit longer than usual, because we are playing a control variation, but we will try our best today. But without further ado, let's get into this deck list here real quick. Now, this list is slightly different than our previous variation of Kuzan that we posted here on the channel not too long ago. I believe this is what we were playing with beforehand. And I have adjusted this list quite a bit, as you can see here, because we have 3,000 worlds in this variation. We have 2 gravity blades, we only have 2 Jozus. I maxed out on Sakazuki originally. This list has changed drastically going into my new Kuzan list, and this one has been working very, very well for me here. Not only the ratios, but I also think this deck is something in which you have to learn the matchups for. Kuzan needs to see certain pieces by, certain curves. He needs to have removal by certain curves. He needs to have enough cards in hand to develop a board and protect himself without taking too much damage in the current metagame due to the fact how aggressive certain decks can be. And we're not just talking about Rayleigh. We're talking about Eustace Kid, any yellow deck in general, for example, that can just rip life. You have to be prepared for these things while having blockers on board or a decent hand size to protect yourself going into the further turns. There's a lot of ins and outs with this leader, in which I think I am very much starting to grasp, and as I play this deck, I feel like I'm getting more consistent and a lot better than the first iteration of my build here. But we're going to dive into a bunch of games today, and we'll get into it. I'll do my best. Now, when it comes to this particular deck list, like I said, it has changed from the previous one. We went down from 4 Sengokus to 3. This is just a pet peeve for me, I guess, or like a personal pick, if you will. I think 3 is great. I really only want to see this guy maybe once or twice a game, if that. He's searchable, he does a thing, he allows you to draw 3 cards, which is really, really good. So for example, if you have 2 cards in hand, 3 cards in hand, one of them being Sengoku, you play Sengoku down, you toss a card, right? That means you have 1 card left. He searches out 2, therefore you have 3 in hand. Once his effect ends, you get to draw an extra card due to your leader ability. So therefore you went from 1 card to 4, off of playing 1 Sengoku, which is really, really strong. He has a way of filtering, he has a way of just drawing your 2Ks and your removal, which in this case would be things like your gravity blades here, or of course your Garps or your 1-drops. Now, outside of that, you attach 2 Don, you swing. Very solid body. We are playing with 1 Maynard. This is, I don't want to say like he's needed or anything, but he does come up a lot more than you might think, even though he's a one of. considering how fast we cycle through this deck by drawing cards, you always have an opportunity of drawing that one card, that specific one card in the deck. Whereas a lot of other decks, if I want to play down something like, I don't know, Usopp, for example, this leader doesn't have a whole lot of draw mechanics outside of Cavendish being on board to swing the draw cards, right? So you're not really drawing a lot of cards each and every turn unless you're using your leader ability. And that's something in which, just like Kuzan, you have ways to manipulate, right? So you will be able to see a lot more cards in decks like this, opposed to other decks that don't have those draw mechanics. Whereas in Kuzan, that one of card, you guys should be able to get that out more consistently than you might think in another deck that doesn't have draw mechanics, if you will. So something like Katakuri or of that nature. Now, this is a cheap blocker, so he's very strong in that regard where your opponent has to spend removal to get rid of this, or they have to attack into it, vice versa. He demands an answer once he's on the board. Just again, cheap blocker. In the late game, pretty good. We're only going to be running 2 of this just because he does come up a lot, especially when you guys don't have the 1-drop in your hand. You're at 10 Dawn, you're able to play down something like Garp into a Kuzan, or Garp into like a Sakazuki or an Aramaki, and then you're able to play down a Maynard as well. Therefore, you develop 3 bodies on board, 2 blockers, and then 2 big swingers for the following turn. This guy is pretty useful, and I see a lot of lists that aren't running him at all or considering him. I think he does have a place here in this deck. Maybe not of like 3 or 4 copies, but 1 to 2, it's pretty solid. And speaking of which, we're also including in Rosinante here. I kind of overlooked this in the beginning, because I've noticed that a lot of people were shifting to Sabo, right? Where this is very similar to Sabo, except for this is if the original cost of 7 or lower would be removed from the board, you can go ahead and choose Sabo instead, which is kind of nice. Now, this does the exact same thing almost to a T. If we pull up Tashigi here, the green one, sorry. When one of your green characters other than Tashigi is removed, right, you can rest this character. Now, this means if your opponent decides to Gravity Blade Tashigi and then something else, Tashigi saves herself and the other character. So you have to solo remove Tashigi first before you can remove anything else on board. Okay? That's how that effect works. The downside is once she's rested, then you can go ahead and remove anything else on board if this card is rested. When it comes to Rosinante, on the other hand, this effect allows you to work with itself. Whereas, if any of your blue navy characters would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you can rest this character and trash 1 card from your hand instead, which also does allow you to recycle with Kuzan's ability and draw 1. The other upside to this is, this card works on itself. So if your opponent decides to Houndblaze this, you can use this effect, and this card stays on board. Then they have to try to remove it again. Because remember, this effect can only trigger once, considering you have to rest it. But, unlike the Tashigi, if your opponent decides to minus the cost on this, then Houndblaze it, you just remove this. This, on the other hand, cancels that out, and this has to be removed twice, which is really cool. But either way, we're going to go ahead and dive into a bunch of games today, and I'll see you guys in a split second. Let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Come at you guys with Kuzan playing into Yellow Kid. I do hope everyone has been having a good time here when it comes to OP12. This is going to be a different meta than we're used to, I think, especially with Luffy being banned. A lot of decks are going to be cropping up, whether it's off meta, on meta, stuff just has basically gotten buffed, if you will. Whereas right now with Kuzan, I'd have a much rougher time having to deal with Big Mom and Sanji, back to back, than obviously not having to deal with Big Mom and Sanji. The 6K leader is also an issue, so I mean there's that, but that's kind of a workaround, opposed of the Big Mom coming out and healing. It makes it very hard for a lot of decks to be able to exist, if you will, but each their own. Now with Luffy being gone, you guys will see like Eustace Kid doing very, very well, Blue Kuzan doing well. A lot of decks in which you didn't really think were going to be cropping back up, like Shanks, for example. They've come back and they're pretty good. Now, speaking of Yellow Kid, in this matchup particularly is very, very difficult for me, just because they have access to the 2-cost Capone. He makes it very, very difficult to remove anything on board here, so I have to kind of get around him first. And I think this is more so why I decided to increase the amount of Jozus that I've been running here in this build from 2 to 3. And I've tried 4. I think 3 to 4 is fine, but the reason being is we're a Navy deck, right? So we're not really going to be drawing out for Jozu, obviously, because it can go to the trash or whatever. But being able to at least see it once per game at 3 copies is really good, because in these matchups here, along with like things like Jewelry Bonnie, Jozu is very, very valuable because he allows us to develop a body on board and then bounce back the Capone or bounce back a Tashigi to hand, which sets us up for the following turn for removal. Unless they play it back down and then they have less Dawn to work with by developing a body they wanted to put on board, if you will. And speaking of which, we're going to kick this back up, because now this puts him in an awkward situation where on the following turn he has options for 7-drop Law, right? But he just has no way of protecting his characters on board here, which is okay. And yeah, arguably we probably should have kicked back the Kikinojo the hand, which might have been better in this regard, but we can still deal with this because we're going to be able to bottom deck it, so it doesn't necessarily matter to me here all too much. He plays Kuma. That's pretty good. Kuma, on the other hand, we have to wait a turn before we can Gravity Blade to get value, which does kind of suck. But we are starving Kid instead of giving him cards here, considering he only has 4 cards left in hand. That's not all too bad. He's probably going to swing there with 6 as well. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll guard out. We'll give him a 1k here. And now we actually get to do things. Ooh, we get the Kuzan. So let's play Garp down. I was just going to play Garp in the Sakazuki, but this works out even better because we can freeze the Kuma. We don't need this for now because we already have one on board. We'll draw an extra card, another Jozu, which is pretty good. I'll go 5 lead here. Nice. Okay. We'll go 7 as well. I do not care about the Kikinojo at all, and normally I wouldn't mind removing it right away, that way we just get the body off the board, especially when his life is face down. When it's face up, I kind of want to ignore her, but this turn Kuma can't swing, so he will get 2 attacks off at the very least, and only 1 can connect to me due to the fact we have Borsalino here. The other one we can drop a 2k counter and or take the hit, but on our following turn we have access to the Gravity Blade, which we can bottom deck the Kuma and the Kikinojo, therefore he can't get healing off at all in this matchup, which is kind of nice. He does have the cycle, he does have double blockers on board, he can still restand the Eustace Kid to have 3 blockers. He's set up pretty good, you know? But we have ways around this here. There's a Hawkins. Okay. I suppose we just go ahead and bottom deck these. This is a very tough matchup, though, just because he's able to just burn our life with the Eustace Kid, Hawkins, and then perhaps if he's running Nico Robin, it can be pretty problematic, because those are cards that go to the trash instead of our hand, in which more cards in hand for Kuzan is a good time. But we'll go ahead and go 5 here. Hopefully he takes this. Nice. I'd imagine he wanted to, just so he can get off the draw here and be set up for the Eustace Kid the following turn. We'll go 7. If he wants to guard out with Kid, we'll swing into it to force more cards out of hand here. Oh, he takes the hit. Okay. Now we have to go 9. I can't really swing here with Kuzan. Yeah, so we'll just swing here with 9 with Garp. Sorry if you guys hear the dog back there. She's having a little night terrors, even though it's like the afternoon. Going past turn here. We have what? 3k? Hey, wake up. There's Veggie. So that'll protect the Eustace Kid from being bottom decked with Red Rock, which is unfortunate. If only we could draw that. Another Apu. Okay, so if we notice, he has no attackers here on board other than Eustace Kid. Which is okay if we can find another Kuzan. If we can gain access to another 6-drop Kuzan here, we can freeze the Kid and then only take one attack each and every turn from their leader. Which we should be able to guard out here. You can go 8. You're going to swing into something? Go 10k into a body? 9k lead. I guess we can take this hit. But, actually, we could also ice block. Go to 9. Then that's fine. We'll take it. 1-drop Rosinante. 10k here. We'll have to ice block this one. And guard out with Porcelino. Jozu bounces back Capone. Still has 3 extra bodies on board. We'll give him the 1-drop here. I don't think we need this in this matchup. Just because if he's going to Zeus something, he's going to try to Zeus our Porcelino. Porcelino can't be Zeused, so I think that's okay. Get a Sengoku here. 2 Supernova. Yeah, we'll give him this. It's a lot of bodies we have to get around, though. He's walled up pretty good. He's got 5 blockers on board. Goodness, man. We need 1 Gravity Blade. At least we're able to remove, you know, the veggies. We did get a Tashigi, though. Please? Nope. Hey, we got a Kuzan. Kuzan's really good. Aramaki's really good. Just because we can slowly bottom deck his field by removing the veggie first, and then, you know, etc, etc. But he still has 2 extra attacks next turn at that point. So we'll take the Kuzan here, just to freeze the Kid. And this also is, like, more Dawn. Because we could play Garp down into the Kuzan, but we're not going to remove the bodies on board here, so I think we're just going to play Kuzan instead over top of the Tashigi, and then go from there. That's math, right? That's 9? Yeah, that's 9. Okay. So we need to also draw some 2k counters off of the Sengoku. 6. If we wanted to do it that way, right? Because Sengoku would probably get us to 1-drop. But then we couldn't play Kuzan here. So let's go 8. Actually, we can't do that either. I mean, this will force the Kid blocker, I assume. Never mind. Okay. Maybe he was worried about us attacking into it. We can still clear it. Nice. Okay. We'll play Kuzan here. As much as I wanted to just play Kuzan and the Sengoku down, we get a Red Rock off that. That sucks, man. Yeah. I mean, you got it. He can't swing. 1 attacker on board. Potentially another Eustace Kid comes down, burns life, swings 7k to face. We have the guard up. Zeus. Okay. Sure, we'll toss Red Rock. Draw an extra card. There's the ice block. I wonder if we forgot about the Porcelino's effect. But I'm not sure. This is where he finds Law and he heals up. Nope, X-Drake. Okay, so he's going to rest Porcelino here, and then he's going to go for game. Or I guess he can't even go for game because Kid can't swing, so. Go 9 lead. I think I would have went for Jozu, probably. I'm not sure what I would have done in that situation. We get a Garp. Which we definitely don't need it. We can filter that out with the ice block, which is kind of nice. There's Kikinojo, the trash, another ice block. I guess we just start swinging because Kid's not a blocker right now. And I don't remember if that life was face down or face up with the Zeus. I'm not 100%. I think it was face up. I don't remember. Let's go here. Go 9 lead as well. Nice. Sure, we'll play another one. Why not? That was a pretty tough matchup, though. I feel like he didn't make any mistakes outside of the Zeus play there at the end. But I don't think that Zeus necessarily mattered. I'm pretty sure he was cooked regardless, but outside of that, he played well, which is nice. Gets Capone early this time around. He does get to go second, so... I do like going second more so than first as Kuzan. And that's just because we see a lot more curve on second than we would going first. First is more so for things like Gravity Blade and the Suru, the 5-drop, the blue one. This one here. Which allows us to like put something back to your opponent's hand. I mean, of course they get to choose, but you also play it down. You pitch 2 cards, you bounce something, then you get to draw 2 cards, which is really nice. Kind of just like a bounce Kaya, basically. And we'll go 5 here. We'll leave 1 up for the event. And we can still develop a Borsalino here. I hope. Yep, okay, we'll pass it over. We have a ridiculous amount of counter in hand. We just need to see a Searcher or draw into some big bodies. Which we might be very unlucky with, but we'll see. 6, goes 5 lead. If we guard out, maybe he attaches down the Hawkins and runs it into Borsalino. Now we'll take the hit. We get a Kuzan. Still has 6 Dawn. Plays Kikinojo down, so she's live. She's active. Okay, Apu. Unfortunately, he has the Capone, so we can't Gravity Blade. It's a Kid. Alright, we're going to Gravity Blade here anyway. Just because I want to remove the Kikinojo and the Hawkins, but I cannot remove the Hawkins due to the fact the Supernova and Veggie exist on board. So we're going to have to remove Kikinojo and the Veggie with Gravity Blade. At least for this turn. So there's Law. Hawkins gets to be able to restand with Blocker. We're not going to be swinging on him at all this turn. There's Law and Life. I don't really want to give that to him either, though. Okay. I had to double check, man. It is Supernova. So we're going to remove both. Which does suck if you're not developing a body on board here. Like, that feels really bad. But we were able to remove 2 problematic targets, which is nice. Okay. There's Luffy. Gets a search off here. Looking for Kid, I would assume. No, Katakuri. Okay, so he also has Katakuri here in this list. Very spicy. We'll use our ability here. I'm not sure why he decided to target us instead of targeting like the Hawkins on board after he swings. So I think you would just go 5 with Hawkins and play Katakuri, put Hawkins on life. So I don't know why he tried to remove Borsalino there. Cool. Aramaki, though. That allows us to remove the cheap blockers, which is pretty good. Let's go 5 into Hawkins here. Just trying to burn that life and get this off the board. Please, you don't need it. Okay. Gives me a Kuma from hands. So that's another way of him healing up, which he has no access to. Because I imagine he'll play Law down as soon as he gets it. So instead, we're just going to go ahead and play Kuzan. We're going to freeze the Katakuri. 3-Don open. Of course we would get the Garp. That sucks. Just like a couple minutes too late. We do put the Rosinante on board though. I'm not too sure why I decided to play Rosinante, but it's not bad. He helps out when it comes to Zeus and stuff, so I mean we're able to draw extra cards here. But I don't necessarily think we needed to play him. I think we should have kept it in hand just for to have the 1k counter. So we can go 6 here. We'll give you the 2k in Zephyr. Not sure why you even attack there. I think I would have attached the Dawn to Kid and swung for 6 and left Hawkins standing, but that's just me. Because this time around we have ways of removing it here. Another Borsellino. Let's play down Garp. And get down Aramaki. Ooh, we get a Peacock off that. Or, sorry, Pheasant Pluck. My bad. It's called differently here on the sim. A little strange. We'll go ahead and do the thing. We'll trash the 1-drop Searcher. Decisions like this always make me rethink them every single time. It's either the 1-drop or the 2k. The 1-drop or the 2k. We're going to decide on the 2k. Or sorry, the 1-drop. My bad. We get a Jozu. And each and every turn we can just go ahead and bottom deck anything that's 2 costs or under with Aramaki. And thankfully Kid plays a lot of like very, very cheap searchers. Burn the life. Come on. You don't need him anymore. Thank you. There's the Jozu. Yeah, I guess we're done. No, are we? Because do we want to give him the Law? Not necessarily, but let's go into Kid. Sure, we get a 2k counter. I'll pass it over here. Next turn we have 4 swings potentially. We can't really go for game, I don't think. But at least we have 4 swings. And I am including the Aramaki into attacking. Not 100% yet, but we'll see. Go to 0, we get to Shigi. This way he can't play down Kid and just trash the life anyway if that's what he was going to do. In hindsight, we probably should have guarded out instead of taking that hit, but it's okay. 10 lead. So he's got 8 Dawn left. So that means leader can swing in for 13k. I will counter out. So I want to keep him on board as long as possible. Get a Garp again. Gonna go 6 lead, 7 Dawn left, potentially another Law. I'll give you the 2k here. I was debating whether or not blocking with Borsellino and just letting him go. So there's the Law. So now he gets to restand the Kid, give that blocker. But he also has no cards in hand here, which is good for us. There's another Law. So this means we should be able to clear board. Okay. Yeah, we should be able to clear this. Because now we can just go 9 into whatever. Then he's going to give us the chump blocker, and then hopefully the Law at some point. Yeah, we'll swing here. That's fine. Right into Katakuri. I don't necessarily want to go to life just yet. I'm trying to clear his board as best as we possibly can. We do get the Apu. And that's my fault. We should have Aramaki'd there to bottom deck the Apu. And then we should have swung into the Katakuri. It doesn't necessarily matter because we're going to be able to clear it anyway. It's just like small moments like that where I go a little bit too fast. Can I please Cannot. Okay. Guess we'll just take a 2k counter. Play down another Shishigi here. This will make us be on 6 Dawn. There's a Kuzan, actually. Kuzan's pretty good. We'll take the Kuzan here. So now we can play Kuzan down and freeze either or on board right now. We have 2 blockers up. You can't remove one of them with Borsellino being a constant in your face. So we're looking pretty good. We'll trash the Hina, just in case we get another Kuzan for the following turn. Okay, that works out. Kuzan from the draw instead. And then I can't swing here. I mean, I can, right? We're just gonna give her the one drop of poo anyway. We see the life, but we'll chill. Because this means next turn we can potentially, if they don't have any healers here or another blocker on board. Okay. So he's going to clear body. Or attempt to. Okay, 15k into what? We'll just guard out anyway. Silliness. I mean, I guess he gets the blocker out of the way, but still. Garp into Kuzan, into the 2-cost blocker. Our hand's looking pretty good. Okay, goes to 4 life. Hold on, I gotta think. Yeah, okay. I think this is okay. So we're gonna go 9 lead here. Yep. So he took the Apu. We'll go 8 here. Sure. Push him down to 2 life. We'll swing first with Garp. I should have attached more Dawn, I think. Or not necessarily, because we can't really go for game right now. So it's fine. Okay, another Hawkins. We need to be able to freeze something here. I think we have to. Trash this. Can't swing. Another 2k, which is good. And then we have enough for a blocker on board as well. So we'll do that. We'll replace the Garp. And then we'll pass it over. I think next turn we win. If we survive here, we win next turn. Unless they have like Ace or another Law to heal up. Which would be problematic because we don't have another Kuzan to protect, or sorry, to freeze out the useless kid on board. Alright, plays double Capone. Goodness, man. Probably gonna swing into our body here. That's 12k into what? Oh, okay, going lead. One guard there. On 6 lead. Take the easy block. I don't think Kid plays anything on 1 Dawn outside of Red Hawk, and I think we've seen them all. Oh, okay. That'll work. Get a Pheasant. Or Ice Block, sorry. It's looking kind of grim, boys. It really is. Very tough matchup here. Hina can come down, and we can go ahead and turn off the Veggie, therefore Veggie can't block. Which is great, because this way we're able to force the extra life, or sorry, the last life here. Now remember, We'll Gravity Blade. Yeah, we'll Gravity Blade. We'll bottom deck the Apu. We'll bottom deck the Veggie. Surprisingly enough, we drew that off the Kuzan, which is kind of crazy. Ooh. I forgot about that. That's my bad. My fault. He's going to heal this turn. That's my bad. I forgot. It's okay. We should be able to win this turn still. Make a move, man. Because we already know what the last life is, so it can't be a zero cost event. Or a Maru, or a Veggie. So. We'll go 11 here. Trying to force as many cards out of hand as I can, or like the one cost events if he's running them. Just take the hit. Just take it. Okay, so he goes to 0. We go 8 here. Still has that 1 Dawn up though. Is this where you do it? Okay. Try this again. Yep. And then good game, buddy. I hope. Please don't have the 2Ks. Let it be over. Please. You don't have it. Just let it go. Okay, cool. Sweet. We got there, boys. Whew. Well played. Well played. That was spooky, man. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into another game. Coming at you guys with Kuzan playing into Rayleigh in OP12. Unfortunately, this is one of the better decks in the format. One of the leaders in which people tend to be pretty scared of. For the right reasons, right? This is a very, very strong deck. Unfortunately, Rayleigh has a good matchup into Kuzan. He has a good matchup into a lot of stuff. Because he's aggro. At the same time, he does struggle into certain decks. And I do think decks in which have removal can do very, very well here. Depending on what pieces you see and if you see the pieces at the right time, right? Kuzan has a ridiculous hand size, and we do have access to things like the Gravity Blade that we can remove the problematic pieces here in Rayleigh. Now, there are 2 characters in which you need to be paying attention to when it comes to this deck. And that's going to be the Luffy and the Kitten Killer. You gotta be playing around your life. That way Kitten Killer is not getting amped up even higher when he swings on you. And the Luffy needs to go as soon as possible. At least for the most part. That's kind of how I've learned to deal with this matchup. You also want to be going for bodies on board when Rayleigh attacks instead of going for life. Because the more cards in his hand, it's a little bit easier for him to protect his bodies on board. And it gives you a harder time. Because it allows him to find events. And the events are what he needs to be able to boost up his characters. So, our Maki, for us, is going to be very, very strong here in this matchup. Because it allows us to remove like the small bodies. So the Boas, the Namis, the Buggies, the Searchers. Anything on board that's 2 costs and under, which typically Rayleigh has a lot of. Aramaki is going to be really good here in that regard. He's also out of range of Mulgun, which is really nice. And then we also utilize the Gravity Blade here. So we have a lot of ways of dealing with this matchup as long as we are able to stick a body on board. Doesn't matter what it is, because our weenies, like our Searchers here, can combat his board for the most part. Just be mindful of swinging Tashigis and stuff into Buggies, thinking you can kill them when Tashigi is a slash type character, and it's not possible. So, in any case, let's go 5 here. I kind of wanted him to just let the Buggy go originally with the Tashigi, but he decided to guard out here with the 2K counter, unfortunately. I felt like if he let it go, we were just going to play Pudding. And now I feel like if we don't play Pudding here, it just feels bad. Because he's going to clear the Tashigi, right? And then we don't have another body on board. What did he search off with the Buggy? I forget. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, Armament Hockey. Alright. Yeah, let's play Pudding here anyway. Because if we end turn, we just get cooked. So we have no other bodies on board to combat board. Alright. Not bad. So we've reshuffled his hand. We got another body here. Next turn we go into 7 Dawn. So we can go ahead and Gravity Blade if he has another Luffy. Does he find it? He does find it. Okay. So that's the second Luffy on the board, which is good for us, because we can just remove that. We cannot counter out of this. Go ahead, play it down. You know you want to. Okay. Sure. That's fine. 2 0-cost events in hand. Yep. It's Buggy on board as well. What you getting out of this one? Remember, Buggy just searches out for the events. It's so good here in this deck. Conqueror's Hockey, so he's got 3 events in hand. I already forgot the other ones, so that's my bad. 6 lead, sure. Jozu. I try to stay around 2 to 3 life at most here in this matchup. I know that's very difficult to do, but we have the blockers and we have the late game. As long as we control the mid to early, or sorry, the mid game, we're fine. Early game, you're not really going to do much here until you're able to establish bodies and get Gravity Blade done, or down. Let's go 4 here first. We know he has a 0-cost event that allows him to like boost and then minus our power. Oh, we just let it go. Okay. Weird. Maybe he remembers we had the Gravity Blade? I'm not sure. But why? I don't know. Let's remove the other 2. And then we'll go 5 lead here. I have to get him down comfortably to at least 3 to 2 life before we start stacking the big bodies on board. That way we can kill him in one go. Joke's on you, you can't pop her. Interesting. I don't know why he used Mulgun there, by the way. That's a little weird, but okay. Yep. So we were at, what, 7 Dawn left? Okay. 6 Dawn. Luffy, yep. Sure. Sanji. 2 0-cost of cards in hand. 4 here, we'll guard up. I know this is weird, but I'd rather him swing into the pudding again instead of going for face here. If possible. Nice. And then we'll guard out of here as well. And then you should clear this with pudding. Okay, never mind. Let's go ahead and lead. Sure. 1 Dawn open. We don't have the second Gravity Blade. We do have the Aramaki, which we could play down to remove that one, but I think it's better just to attack into this instead. We're at what, 8 Dawn here? 9 Dawn? Garp, Aramaki, then we have the 1-drop events. This should allow us to stay alive here. Trash the Red Rock. There's a 2k counter. Yeah, we'll pass turn. We can't use Aramaki's effect at all. We can't cycle anything. Because you have to have something to bottom deck before you can use his ability. So be mindful when you're out there playing against Kuzan players at a local scene. You have to have something to bottom deck. Come on, Rayleigh. What you got? Another Luffy? I mean, he is close to winning the game here, honestly. He could still very well win the game. Like this turn, you could have like a Zoro and a Luffy. Or sorry, a Zoro and like a Kidding Killer. There's a Zoro. Hopefully he doesn't have Kidding Killer. He's got 4 Dawn open, 5 Dawn open. 7 here. 6 Luffy. And then 6 with Sanji. I'll just take the easy guard. If he wants to run into this, that's totally fine with me. I mean, we have the counter here anyway. Both of the other 2 are swinging for 6k, which isn't really much of a big deal. Unless he's attaching Dawn here. So if he does go double attach to 7-7, he can also swing for 7 and leave 1 Dawn open as well. Okay, 7 here. Peasant. Guess it really doesn't matter here what we throw away. We'll throw away the other 1-drop though. Okay, cool, we get more counter. I need you to attach Dawn, please. Do not put another body down. Okay. Okay, so we're good, we're good. So we know his hand is full of events now. Because that means that's his second mulligan. He got one off of what? Trigger earlier today? Earlier this game. So then go 8, and then Sanji can swing for 9, so we have to guard out here. Oh, okay. I don't know why you decided to do that. Ooh, this is rough, man. Because Sengoku sees, like, what, 4 cards for us? Or 3 cards for us, sorry. Then Jozu allows us to bounce back the pudding, basically. Which gives us another counter. That we can push back like Luffy or Sanji in hand here. I think both of these calls are really, really good, actually. But if I play Sengoku, we gotta trash the Jozu anyway, so... You know what I mean? Or trash what we draw. Uchishigi is actually nice. We'll play her. Not very good options here. Having another Gravity Blade here would have been nice, but what are you gonna do? We'll take a 2K. Because I don't need the Garp and I don't need the Sakazuki right now. Hina's not really going to be helpful, but again, just a 2K. 3 cards left. He shouldn't have any events here to utilize for 1 Dawn, so he does have like the 0 cost in the hand. So I'm not sure why he decided to float over the 1 Dawn. Unless I'm missing something. Because we know he has the one that's like, you spend for 0 and then like you minus power, then you gain power. Because he minuses everything on board. We know he has that in hand. Mulgun, and I forgot what the other one was. I think it's Conqueror's Hockey, I believe. It gives him like plus 2K. Okay. Sure. He just lets that go. He could have prevented that, honestly. And at least made my characters have to attack into it again for the turn. Yeah, this is fine. Because now we can just swing into Zoro here. And force them to give me cards. So there's a Nami. He didn't have that before. Because I imagine if he did it, he would have played it last turn for the 1 Dawn. But what do I know? I think we can clear this with 8. Because I think it increases him by 1,000, right? Then it minuses everything else on board, I believe. I think that's math. We'll find out here. Because I assume he's going to protect it. Because the only other swing we have left is our blocker. Okay, you don't protect this. Okay, weird. Well, I guess we'll bounce that back to hand. Strange. We'll play it back down. We need another 2K counter. Let's go, boys. We'll take the Hina. And then we'll pass it over. So far, so good. I'm not sure why he didn't, you know, protect for the Zoro there, because we know he had the events in hand. I don't know. I just don't get it there. But that's fine. Unless he needs the events in order to be able to swing here, you know what I mean? Maybe that's why he decided to keep them. But regardless, he has 3 in hand. And 1 Luffy right now. I don't know what the last card is, though. Or is that Matt? No, that's right, that's right. 3 events, 1 Luffy, and mystery card. So here Luffy hits the board again. Sure. It's a really good card, but it just doesn't have Rush, which makes it feel a little weird for me, I think. Because you want to have him survive, and the moment he gets removed, it kind of just feels really, really bad. Okay, so we mulgunned our Jozu. Go 5 here, we will counter with the 2K count. Actually, we can just guard out, never mind. We're chilling, we're chilling. There's a Garp. We don't need Garp either. What's in trash here? Okay. -5, 6,000 power more. So he needs a character with 6K on board. Which he has easily with the Luffy. I don't necessarily think we can go for game here, though. He's at 3 life. Let's go 7 with Pudding first. And we'll see what he does here. So I can't really swing with Lead or Garp just yet, in case he's using some sort of triggers, like Mulligan or Red Hawk. Okay, plus 2. Oh, it's plus 2,000 minus 1,000. That's my bad. Math. Thankfully, I wasn't going for game right there, so. But still. We're on. It's 5 Dawn here. Blah, blah, blah. It's 4K. I don't think we can go for game right now. But I can remove the 1-drop on board for free, which is nice. So I'll trash the Garp. We get a Kuzan. That's really good. Actually kind of clutch. Because now we can play Kuzan, freeze the Luffy, and then potentially win game next turn. Okay, so he takes the hit. He takes the hit again. Go on. We'll just do Kuzan for now. Because I could attach this, right? If we attach everything and we go face, we probably lose game. Because Aramaki's going to swing in for 10k at that point, right? That's 6. That's 7k. This is just the better option instead of being greedy. I feel like it's not even worth it. Never mind. It wasn't even worth it. At least this way we can freeze Luffy and then have a blocker on board. So, unfortunately, we only have the 2k counter. So if he has like a Kidding Killer and a Zoro here, we could be in trouble. And we're talking about like having both, but we've already known the cards in his hand for a minute because we've been kind of starving Rayleigh, which is nice. So I say that we only have 2 cards ourselves, but I digress. Alright, so he plays another Luffy down. Yep, reveals both of those. There's Armament and Conqueror's Haki. Sure. So that gives him 2,000 power, minus his 1,000 everything else. Another one gives him 2k. He's going to clear a body on board here. There's no way he doesn't try. 11 into... Doesn't really matter. He has an exact number here. And unfortunately we have the Red Rock in hand, so I can't get out of that one. Kuzan. I'm pretty sure we win here. Pretty sure. We don't have the removal for Luffy's otherwise, so the only thing I could potentially do is play Kuzan freeze 1, and then hopefully he can't kill me in the following turn. We'll trash Red Rock here. And bottom deck to Shigi. So that gives us the boost. We're at 10k. I kind of want to swing first Aramaki just to put him on 0. Let's go 7 lead first. What's your game plan? If he takes the hit, he loses here, right? Sure, cool. Well played. Actually. Yeah, well played. Pretty good, man. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably play one more game after this one, and then we'll call it a day. We'll dive back into the deck list at the end of the video as we typically do. But currently, this leader has surprised me. Very, very much, man. I didn't think I'd enjoy this deck as much as I do, but after playtesting with Kuzan, after playing this deck quite a bit, I'm very much enjoying the what blue should have been, you know? Being able to have the removal, being able to have a ridiculous amount of cards in hand, being able to do tempo plays, what have you. It's just so much fun. Now, we do have some very, very tough matchups, of course, but we do have some pretty easy matchups. Then we have the 50-50s, as you know, all decks do. I think Kuzan has a pretty good time in the current metagame, and I have spent the most time out of all the OP12 leaders on Kuzan. And I do think we will be taking this up to regionals here very, very soon as well. I have a couple coming up this month, or sorry, one coming up this month, and then I have store championships as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be a good time. Now, in any case, this matchup in particular, is very difficult. The 5-drop Sanji P. It's very hard to deal with that if Luffy sees stage right away. And I get it, there are certain matchups where this deck does not draw stage. It does not see a Sanji P until late game. It happens more often than you realize. There's not a whole lot you can do about it, you know, as a Luffy player. But you are a 6k leader a lot of the time with your leader ability. You do have access to the 6-drop Luffy that can double tap, you know, people. So you have ways of searching out with multiple searches in the deck. It's very consistent. It's just those rare occasions where you don't see Sanji P. It can feel pretty bad. It can feel pretty bad. Goodness gracious, man. Now, we ended up getting Pudding here, and because we know that he searched twice, I just decided to drop it. On behalf, he had the Luffy in hand. I don't know about the Sanji P, but I didn't want to deal with the Luffy right away. That's fine. Sure. It's looking pretty good right now, considering he had to put Don on Nami to swing. Tells me he didn't have a lot going on in hand here, so we're going to try to clear board a little bit. We do have access to the Kuzan, which I don't necessarily want to play here. I think it's better for us just to play down the Jozu, because he goes up to 7 Don next turn, so in that regard, he could play down like Luffy and Chopper. This way we can bounce back our Searcher here, or the Pudding. I'm more inclined to bounce back the Tashigi, just so we have more searches, which we already have 4 in hand here. So it doesn't hurt us that much, and then perhaps he'll give us a Chopper. Please and thank you. Or take the hit, that's fine. Cool. And the reason why we didn't bounce Pudding is because we want to develop a Garp into a Kuzan, or a Garp into something else. Obviously, we don't have Garp in hand here, so we're going to have to play around it. And I would assume he's going to play down a big body. If he does, we have Kuzan. And then we also have the Tashigi in hand to find like an Ice Block or Gravity Blade. Even though we already have that in hand. You know, if we didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Luffy Taro. Very scary card here. Cool, he didn't find anything. Love to see it. Let's go 6 lead. Go down to 2. I cannot go to 1 life. If we go to 1 life, we're in lethal range. So, we just gotta keep that in mind. And we have no blockers on board just yet, so we have to stay at 2 for a little bit. At least until we're able to get blockers down to wall up, or draw a couple ice blocks here. Because the Luffy, the one that allows you to, you know, to attack twice, is very problematic here for this deck, considering I cannot remove it if I don't see a Gravity Blade or a Red Rock. We do have the Blade, but it feels bad to spend 7 just to remove that and the 2020 Chopper. And I need to develop another body here. So, yeah, we'll play down the Mihawk here. The Mihawk will freeze the Luffy. And we can also get a search off with the Tashigi here in hopes that we can find a Garp for later. Because that would be kind of nice. Or an Ice Block. So let's start. I guess we can start with Jozu, really. But we'll play this down here. We'll freeze the Luffy. And we'll get the draws off. We can pitch a Sengoku because we have a couple in hand. We'll freeze this, we'll draw. There's the Ice Block, which is really good for us here. I have to be mindful of what we do because I need to keep up 1 Dawn. So our leader is not going to be able to swing, even though I want to pressure him here. But I also want to have the counter up just in case he does have Luffy for the following turn. So I can only swing with either Pudding or Kuzan. But I need to have the Dawn to develop. This is not great, to be fair. I'll take a second Kuzan here. This will do for now. Then we'll pass it over. As much as I want to swing, you know? He might even go into Jozu here, so having the ice block for that is pretty good. Okay, another Luffy Taro. He actually gets a Sanji P this time. That's looking pretty good for him. It's so crazy how much that one card can benefit this deck just by being on board. Like, he spent 7, he played Sanji P, restood 4 Dawn. You know what I mean? That's still enough Dawn to play down a blocker and then have Dawn left over for Gum Gum Giant. It's kind of nutty. But no stage. So, we still have we still can easily remove this. Because we can Jozu. We can Gravity Blade. I think we're going to Gravity Blade here instead. That way we don't have to deal with the Sanji as well. The other option there was just to play Jozu down to bounce the Sanji P into Tashigi and play Tashigi back down. But then we would have to deal with the Sanji P on block here. Instead, okay, there's the Garp. But at this point, we really don't need the Garp, though. Because we already have two big bodies on board. Let's go ahead and go 6 lead. For whatever reason, I feel like a lot of Luffy players are more inclined to give me a Gum Gum Giant if I go past the 6k mark. You know what I mean? Like if I overly attach Dawn. So I think they don't get a whole lot of value if I just go, 5 to 5 or 6 to 6 and they decide the Gum Gum Giant. I'm cool with that. Like, I get the value off that more so than they do. Of course, they get to draw the cards and everything, cool. But that leaves me open for bigger attacks later in the line, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm looking into that all wrong, but it's been working out, and I think that's the way you need to be playing it. There are just some turns in which I cannot go 6 into a 6k leader without leaving a Dawn floating up for like a Tashigi or like an ice block. Like, I have those moments, and I think that's okay with this deck, just due to the fact of how many cards that you can draw, you know what I mean? And that's fine. 9k here. He's got 8 Dawn left over, so that's probably another 9k swing. Sure. We'll go ahead and get the counter out here. We can pitch, doesn't really matter, really. I did not mean to throw away the Jozu, that's my fault. I should have thrown away the Aramaki there, actually. I was thinking about using the Jozu for the +1, you know what I mean? That's my bad. Another 9k, I assume? I'm surprised he didn't try to clear board, honestly. Okay. Perhaps he thought just because we have so many cards in hand, we have the counter. But a lot of our stuff right now is pretty bricked. Because we are now just drawing our Garps, unfortunately. Electrical Luna, okay. I like it. That might actually be really, really good right now for this metagame. Because Rayleigh and stuff, you know? Yep. Rest that. Leader skill? Yep. Leaves 1 Dawn open, so he probably has Giant in hand. And I don't necessarily think we have an out here. Because regardless if we take this hit or not, we're going to lose next turn. You know what I mean? Okay. Handful of no counter. I'm not sure how we can play this. I think first things first, we have to swing 6. And then what's left over, we either go Pudding, Tashigis, and Tashigis. Because I think we got the low end here, because now we're finally getting all our late game pieces here with the Garp. You know what I mean? I think going 9 here is really problematic. So I'm going to need to have these Dawn for the Tashigis here. That's 10. Double tap. He probably has the counter, realistically. Because we can play down Garp into the Sakazuki and draw 2 cards, but we won't survive the following turn. Unless we get, like, you know, double ice blocks and just super lucky. But I don't think we would survive. Because I can do Garp into Aramaki as well, and that'll allow us to draw extra cards too. But then we would need the blocker and an ice block, plus a 2k counter. Or two 2k counters, because we would need it off life as well. Let's just go 6 here. Oh. Okay. I think he's bricked up. I'm pretty sure. Good game. So there's the giant. Sure. Please. Let's go, team. I actually think Luffy and I both low-rolled in that matchup, and I think the pudding was pivotal. You know what I mean? Being able to just shuffle those cards back in, I think that was really, really good. Because I don't necessarily know if he had stage in hand at that point, but I do know he got the Luffy. Not that that changed the game if he had the Luffy, but he could have had a Sanji P there as well. And once we shuffled everything back in, he basically didn't play anything that was relevant for a while, right? Because he whiffed on the Luffy Taro the first time, then the second one he got the Sanji P on board. I think that pudding really changed the game there too. But we also low-rolled as well. We didn't really see a lot of big bodies in the time we needed to see them. We saw the Kuzan. The Kuzan was great, but we didn't see any Garp on curve, which was unfortunate. We got to play Jozu into a Kuzan, which is not something I typically do, but I think Kuzan was pretty big there too, along with Jozu being able to bounce back at like a Sanji P to hand if needed, considering he didn't have stage. That was pretty strong. But either way, we're going to dive into this last matchup of the day, and we'll take a look back in the deck list here, and I'll send you guys on your way. So I do hope you guys are enjoying this one, by the way. This, like I said before, this is going to be my main deck in OP12 for the time being. OP13, I'm looking more along the lines of probably Sabo and Emu. And that'll probably be the second time we actually pick a meta leader and go with it. You know what I mean? Because typically I like playing like tier 2 or off meta decks at most. But on paper, I put a lot of time in this game, right? To be fair. And you kind of gotta just go with it sometimes, especially when you're out there playing big events at regionals and all that sort of thing. So you gotta do what you gotta do occasionally. But either way, this matchup's pretty tough. I think I like the other one better because I don't have to deal with Beer Luffy, and if I don't see Gravity Blade, I am pretty cooked. And due to the fact that Luffy enables his characters to have like +1, you know what I mean? It's very difficult for me to remove any Luffy variation on board in this matchup with Gravity Blade. So the Red Rocks, the Gravity Blades on curve are going to be pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't get to play Gravity Blade next turn. Or sorry, we don't get to play Gravity Blade until next turn because we got to go second here. So I guess we're taking this for now. We got nothing but searchers this game around. We're going to go 5 into this. I don't necessarily want to go face. I want to try to go into like his bodies on board here. Sorry, I had to swap the music real quick. In any case, that way we don't give him cards. I'd rather go for Zoro instead of going for anything else when the time is, when time's possible. There's Luffy's here, 7k. So we're not hitting him next turn, that's for sure. Okay. 6 lead, leaving up 2 Dawn, interesting. I mean, we can't really go. I guess we can guard out on Luffy here with Peacock if need be. But we'll guard here the first and we'll take the second hit. That's okay. We'll get rid of Garp, draw a card. Okay, Maynard. Not bad. Please don't restand. Good. Because he does not know how bricked our hand is. Another Garp, man. Getting cooked right now. But he didn't attach Dawn for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe he forgot, or he needs the Dawn up for some sort of event. I don't know. But joke's on you. I'll Gravity Blade both of these, and that's probably going to be the turning point in this matchup. Definitely. Because we get to remove 2 cards on board and get another card out of hand here, probably. Come on. Yep, 2k counter, Frankie. We'll pass it over. Because he only has 5 cards left, right? We've been starving him for a while. So he left up 2 Dawn for the Hell's Judgment. Alright. That's good to know. There's another Luffy. 5 lead. We have another Gravity Blade here as well, which we'll do this turn. Sure. Okay. This poor guy. I almost feel bad. But the Gravity Blade back to back here, that's a wrap. I expect him some sort of rage or something. Surprised he didn't say anything. Sengoku. That's 4 searches. We can trash Garp. I'll take the 2k counter and the Borsalino. I don't need the 8 cost, but hey, why not? 3rd Gravity Blade. Luffy? I hope not. Okay, it's not the one I thought. I was thinking of the time skip Luffy. That's fine. We don't have an out for this, though, which is unfortunate. And I don't think I'm able to remove it, because he's probably going to have, like, another Hell's Judgment, or a, what do you call the thing? A Gum Gum Giant. Yep. Sure. Still no Red Rock. Remember when I said I didn't think I was going to need the 8 cost Aramaki? Remember when I said that? Yeah. I don't think we're going to need it. We're just going to use the Kuzan here to freeze him. Hey, there's a Red Rock. You'd love to see it. We'll get rid of this, because it has no counter. We'll freeze that, draw an extra card, another counter card, which is nice. I don't believe this deck runs any form of removal. There are sometimes I feel they run like, what was it, not the Raigo, sorry, Ragnarok? I think some decks will typically run like maybe 1 or 2 of those, but I think we're fine. Otherwise, we would have just dropped the one drop in the hands to prevent them from removing, but I think the 2-cost blocker here is more prevalent. Because this way, if he wants to play down a Usopp, or Usohachi, or a Sanji to rest it, he still has to spend the Dawn to do so. Once he does that, he doesn't have enough Dawn to go for game here. Which is nice. And this is when I think having those cheap blockers at moments like this, your opponent has to spend the Dawn to remove it. And if they do that, they typically don't have the ability to develop a body and swing at you at the same time to go for game, which is nice. Ooh, Robin. Dude, this card's so good. That is so good. Oh, it sucks to suck, but we'll drop this and the 8 cost. He still has 2 blockers on board here, with 2 Dawn open. Okay, we get another Kuzan. That's really huge. Yeah, it's actually really good for us, because we can play Kuzan, or we can remove the Luffy at one go. Let's go 5 first. Can I get cards out of hand, please? Okay, no, he guards out. Okay, takes the easy block. That's fair. As much as I want to play Kuzan here, I think rocking the Luffy is the best call. Sure. Let's do that then. I guess we'll take a 2k counter. Or the Sengoku. I would take a 2k here. Sengoku draws us 2 extra cards though. So I think that's math, right? Yeah, that's math. So we can play this down and then play the Red Rock. So we'll pitch a 2k counter. And we'll take 2 2k counters. Because why not? We just got 5k by playing 3 Dawn, which is crazy. Okay. Let's bully the Robin. Sure. Let's go 5 lead. That card is so good right now in this metagame. Just because of Rayleigh and things like Anel exist. It's very strong. Especially when Luffy can become a 7k lead and pop off a Hell's Judgment on something. It's pretty spooky. Yep. So that's 3 blockers on board here. And we don't have any more Gravity Blades, by the way. Because we used to, then we pitched our 3rd one. And then our Hina cannot really get value here if he attaches Dawn, which I assume he's going to. So that means we cannot rest the Frankie. Or not rest it, we can't enable our ability to make it where he can't block with the 4 cost or lower. Four left. Probably gonna go 7 here with leader. Unless he's contemplating on going like tall on Robin. Okay, never mind. 7 lead. I think I can afford to guard here. Because otherwise we're giving him 2 2Ks out of hand. And he still has 2 swings left. I think if we take this, we lose. If he wants to go free game, right? Because then we would have to have that last life be another 2k counter. Which is high up there, but still. Should clear this. We gotta get through 3 walls. Let's go 5 first. This should be an easy block for Robin, maybe. Okay. Gives me a Robin, sure. I think we can get through. I think. If we go 8, he decides to swing in with like Frankie, or sorry, guard out with Frankie or Onami. We have an option of playing Suru down to return the Robin back to hand and then draw 2 cards. Like, that's something that we can do. Or we can play the Kuzan here, which would make it a little bit safe, in which he cannot swing in on me with the Robin. There's a lot of ways we can go about this, but it depends on what he decides to do with this right now. Because Suru, he has to choose what goes back to hand, right? Okay. So has to take the hit. Interesting. Well, I guess that's fine, because then he realizes we can't Gravity Blade and go for game, so. This will take the Onami. Yes? Yep, okay. Sorry, buddy. It be what it be. We'll toss a 2k here. Can't swing. Draw a red rock. Unfortunate. And then we're going to have to pass turn here. I guess we can use the red rock for the ice block, though. Which isn't that bad. But now we have no blocker this turn. He does have 2 attackers. But I guess this could be a 10-10. Or he could potentially do what? Swing, swing, play time skip Luffy? You know what I mean? That'd be kind of tragic. Because that's 5 and 5. Time skip comes down, resets. Then he has 5, 5, and then 12. Would we hang on to that, actually? Yeah, we would still be alright. No, actually, we wouldn't be, because Robin would be able to swing at that point, right? Because I believe she gets unlocked if he had time skip here. So potentially he would win game if he had time skip Luffy. I guess we can take this hit, can't we? Perhaps we can bait him into the Frankie swing. Nice. Okay, cool. We win. Well played. We'll pitch the Garp. We'll play it smart here. Sure. Well played, man. It was close. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the end of the video in which today we played around with Kuzan. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one, especially when I just put out a Kuzan list maybe a couple days ago. This is the updated version. This is what I'm using as of late. This will be probably fine-tuned and tinkered if I see something that I want to adjust. But currently, I think this list is pretty solid, man. I've added in the Rosinantes here and then one of the Maynard just for consistency. This obviously for removal decks. Considering Sakazuki's back, you still have to deal with Rob Lucci. And then you have yellow decks that have access to things like the Zeus, the Gadetsu. Some decks are still utilizing that, like Eustace Kid. But this really comes in handy and allowing you to like draw extra cards and protecting your board. I only run 2 though. I don't feel like I need to see more. I think just 1 per game is pretty solid. If I need to search it, obviously I have multiple ways of doing that. But the same thing with this. In the end game, very cheap blocker. Makes your opponent have to deal with it. The other cards in which may be a little different than your list or your brother's list or what have you is the Sakazuki here. I think everybody out there that I've seen or come across is using 3 to 4 copies of Sakazuki. And I was at first using 4 of these, right? We were using 4. I just feel like that's way too many bricks. And there are occasions where I don't even play this guy out. Like, sometimes it's just enough for Garp and Kuzan to win games, but there are times where Sakazuki does really matter. Being able to have him on board to cycle for free each and every single turn is really strong. And what that means is you can trash 1 card in hands, and then you get to draw an extra card off your leader ability by using Sakazuki's ability. You give something Arrested Dawn, trash something, draw something, which is really good. And then his on play automatically draws you just 2 cards. So he has his uses. But again, with Sakazuki here and things like Aramaki, I feel like this is my flex spots into the deck. Of course, you have the 4-cost Borsellino, and then you have Rosinante and Maynard. These are all flex picks, right, to be fair. You don't need Borsi, you don't need Rosinante, you don't need Maynard. They just really help you out. Or Menard, I'm sorry. Now, again, Sakazuki, 2 to 4 copies, I would argue is that sweet spot. 2 for me, maybe it's 3 for you. Play around with this until you find something that works out for you guys, that's fine-tuned for you. I don't like to max out on this due to the fact that we already utilize a lot of bricks in the deck. Yes, we have the ability to, when we play a card down that involves trashing, we can throw away a brick to draw another card. I get that. But, unlike Nami, for example, I can throw away a Garp, or I can throw away a Aramaki, and this becomes a 7k. You know what I mean? They're technically 2k counters in a deck like this. In Kuzan, you can't really pitch the bricks in your hand unless you have a card that specifically says you may trash something, right? So be mindful of how many bricks you're going to be running in this deck, regardless of how many 2Ks that we have access to. In this particular build here, we're running 12. And I think in our previous build, we ran, what, 13 or 14? Which is totally okay, right? It's totally fine. But let me double check here. I think we were still running that, right? That's 4, that's 8, that's 12. Nah, this one was also running 12. So, I mean, you have pick and choose your battles, right? But overall, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This has been Kuzan for OP12. Leave your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below as you typically would. Let me know what you guys are running. Let me know what you guys think I should try here in this variation of Kuzan. And I'll give it a shot, man. This has been Pawseplays. Please hit that like button so we get these videos floating around here. And I will catch you guys in the very next one. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.